The unseen connection, giants and demons. When most people think of biblical giants, they picture a tall guy named Goliath. But the truth is far more intriguing and a bit scarier. These weren't just big humans with a growth problem. They were the result of a heavenly rebellion that would change the course of human history and the spiritual realm. Ready for a Bible story that's part supernatural thriller, part origin story of evil? The connection between giants and demons in the Bible is a revelation that often goes unnoticed. It's a story that begins in the early chapters of Genesis and echoes throughout Scripture. This hidden link reveals a cosmic conflict that extends beyond our physical world into the spiritual realm. As we explore this connection, we'll uncover the origins of these beings, their impact on human history, and their role in the ongoing spiritual warfare. The truth about giants and demons in the Bible is more shocking than you might imagine, and it's a story that demands our attention. Genesis 6, the origin of giants. The origins of these beings are more extraordinary than most could imagine. To uncover this shocking truth, we must turn to the book of Genesis, specifically chapter 6. This passage holds the key to understanding the mysterious connection between giants and demons that has puzzled scholars and believers for centuries. Genesis 6, 1-4 introduces us to a group called the Nephilim. But who were these mysterious figures and how did they come to be? The answer lies in a union that defies our understanding of the natural order. The passage describes a time when the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful. These divine beings chose to take human wives, and from these unions came offspring unlike any the world had seen before. The Bible tells us that the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. But who were these sons of God? Many scholars, including Dr. Michael Heiser, interpret this phrase to refer to divine beings or angels. This understanding adds a supernatural dimension to the story, suggesting a rebellion in the heavenly realm that spilled over into the human world. The offspring of these unions were not ordinary children. The Bible describes them as heroes of old, men of renown. These were beings of great power and influence, standing apart from the rest of humanity. The term Nephilim itself has been the subject of much debate, but it's clear that these were no ordinary humans. This account in Genesis sets the stage for understanding the origin of giants in the Bible. These weren't simply tall humans, but hybrid offspring of divine beings and human women. Their very existence represented a violation of the boundaries between the heavenly and earthly realms. The implications of this passage are profound. It suggests that the increase of wickedness on earth, which led to the Great Flood, was not solely the result of human sin. The forbidden union between the sons of God and human women introduced a new element of corruption into the world. Jewish traditions and other biblical texts, such as the Book of Enoch, elaborate on this story. They suggest that the fallen angels who fathered the Nephilim also imparted forbidden knowledge to humanity. This transfer of divine secrets further contributed to the spread of evil on earth. Perhaps most shockingly, early Jewish writers believed that the Nephilim were the origin of demons. When these hybrid beings were killed, their spirits did not rest. Instead, they became disembodied entities, roaming the earth as demons. This concept, found in texts like the Book of Enoch, is even referenced by New Testament authors such as Peter and Jude. The Genesis account thus serves as more than just an explanation for the existence of giants in ancient times. It provides insight into the origin of spiritual evil that continues to influence the world today. These giants, born of heavenly rebellion, became a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms, leaving a legacy that extends far beyond their physical presence on earth. This understanding of Genesis 6 challenges our perception of the ancient world. It suggests that the line between the natural and supernatural was not as clear as we might assume. The presence of the Nephilim represents a time when the spiritual realm directly intersected with the physical, producing offspring that would shape the course of human history and spiritual warfare for generations to come. The Book of Enoch, unveiling the mystery. The Bible tells us about giants, but there's another ancient text that sheds even more light on these mysterious beings. The Book of Enoch, though not part of the canonical Bible, offers a fascinating perspective on the origins of giants and their connection to demons. This text, revered by some early Christian communities, provides a detailed account of the fallen angels and their offspring. The Book of Enoch describes a group of angels called the Watchers. These celestial beings were tasked with observing humanity, but they became enamored with human women. In an act of rebellion against God's order, they descended to earth and took human wives. This union between divine and mortal resulted in the birth of the Nephilim, the giants mentioned in Genesis. But the Book of Enoch goes further, detailing the actions of these fallen angels and their giant offspring. The text suggests that these watchers did more than just produce abnormal children. They also shared forbidden knowledge with humans, teaching them arts and sciences that God had not intended for mortals to know. The Book of Enoch states, Asael taught men to make swords of iron and weapons and shields and breastplates and every instrument of war. This transfer of divine knowledge led to increased violence and corruption among humans. The giants, with their supernatural strength and knowledge, became a source of terror and destruction on earth. As the wickedness spread, the giants' appetites grew insatiable. The Book of Enoch paints a grim picture of their actions, saying, "And the giants began to kill men and to devour them." This horrific behavior only added to the corruption that had overtaken the world, leading to God's decision to cleanse the earth with the great flood. But what happened to these giants after the flood? This is where the Book of Enoch provides a startling revelation about the origin of demons. According to the text, when the physical bodies of the Nephilim were destroyed, their spirits did not rest. Instead, they became disembodied entities, roaming the earth as evil spirits. The Book of Enoch explains, "The spirits that have gone forth from the body of their flesh are evil spirits, for from humans they came into being, and from the holy watchers was the origin of their creation. Evil spirits they will be on the earth, and evil spirits they will be called." This concept suggests that demons are not fallen angels, as is commonly believed, but rather the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. These spirits, born from the unnatural union of divine and human, were left to wander the earth, causing harm and leading humans astray. Dr. Michael Heiser, a scholar of the ancient Near East and biblical studies, supports this interpretation. He argues that demons are indeed the departed spirits of dead Nephilim, killed before and during the flood. These spirits, according to Heiser, roam the earth, harassing humans and seeking re-embodiment. The Book of Enoch also describes the fate of the fallen angels who initiated this chain of events. It states that they were bound and imprisoned in the abyss, awaiting final judgment. Bind them for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth until the day of their judgment and consummation, the text declares. This account from the Book of Enoch provides a deeper understanding of the connection between giants and demons. It suggests that the evil spirits plaguing humanity have their origins in the physical giants of old. These beings, born of heavenly rebellion, became a source of corruption in life and continue to be a source of spiritual warfare even after death. The Book of Enoch's narrative aligns with and expands upon the brief mention of giants in Genesis. It offers an explanation for the origin of demons that connects them directly to the physical giants of the ancient world. This perspective adds a new dimension to our understanding of spiritual warfare and the ongoing battle between good and evil in the world. Biblical giants, names and encounters. The Bible's account of giants doesn't end with their mysterious origins. These towering figures appear throughout the Old Testament, bearing various names and leaving an indelible mark on biblical history. Who were these giants and how did they shape the narrative of God's people? The giants in the Bible were known by several names, each with its own significance. Two of the most prominent groups were the Anakim and the Rephaim. The Anakim, descendants of the Nephilim, inhabited the land of Canaan. Their presence struck fear into the hearts of the Israelites when they first scouted the Promised Land. In Numbers 13:32-33, the Israelite spies reported, "The land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." This encounter with the Anakim left a lasting impression on the Israelites, influencing their faith and actions. The Rephaim were another clan of giants mentioned in the Bible. One of their most notable members was King Og of Bashan. The Bible provides a vivid detail about King Og, stating that his bed was made of iron and measured 13 feet in length. This description gives us a glimpse into the extraordinary size of these beings. As the Israelites prepared to enter the Promised Land, they faced numerous encounters with these giant clans. Under Joshua's leadership, they embarked on military campaigns against the Anakim. Joshua 11:21-22 recounts, "At that time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them and their towns." These battles against the giants were not just physical conflicts. They represented a spiritual struggle, pitting the chosen people of God against beings born from a heavenly rebellion. Each victory over these formidable foes was seen as a triumph of divine power over the forces of evil. Perhaps the most famous encounter with a giant in the Bible is the battle between David and Goliath. This story, found in 1 Samuel 17, has captured the imagination of people for centuries. Goliath, a Philistine giant from Gath, stood over 9 feet tall and was clad in impressive armor. His defeat at the hands of the young shepherd David became a powerful symbol of faith overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds. But Goliath was not the only giant David and his men faced. The Bible mentions 4 more Philistine giants, all relatives of Goliath from the region of Gath. These include Ishbi-Benob, Saph or Sippai, Lahmi, Goliath's brother, and an unnamed giant with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. These giants were defeated by David's mighty warriors, as recorded in 2 Samuel 21:15-22 and 1 Chronicles 20:4-8. These encounters with giants were more than just tales of physical prowess. They were part of a broader narrative of spiritual warfare. The giants, as descendants of rebellious divine beings, represented the forces of evil opposing God's people. Each victory over these beings was seen as a step towards fulfilling God's promise and establishing his kingdom on earth. The story of giants in the Bible reminds us that the spiritual realm often intersects with our physical world in unexpected ways. These beings, born from a union between the divine and human, posed a unique challenge to God's people. Their presence in the biblical narrative serves as a testament to the complex spiritual landscape of the ancient world and the ongoing battle between good and evil that continues to this day. New Testament references confirming the connection. The Old Testament's account of giants and demons is captivating, but does this narrative continue into the New Testament? As we turn the pages to the writings of the apostles, we find intriguing references that confirm and expand upon the ancient connections between these supernatural beings. 2 apostles, Peter and Jude, provide significant insights into this matter in their epistles. Their words shed light on the fate of the rebellious angels and their connection to the giants of old. These New Testament references not only support the Old Testament accounts, but also offer a deeper understanding of the spiritual realm and its impact on humanity. Peter, in his 2nd epistle, writes about the angels who sinned before the flood. He states, "For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but sent them to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment." 2 Peter 2:4-6. This passage aligns with the story of the Nephilim in Genesis 6, suggesting that the sons of God, who fathered the giants, faced divine punishment for their transgressions. Jude, in his brief but powerful letter, echoes Peter's words. He writes, "And the angels who did not keep their positions of authority but abandoned their proper dwelling. These he has kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains for judgment on the great day." Jude 5:6. Both apostles paint a picture of rebellious angels imprisoned and awaiting final judgment. These New Testament references provide a crucial link between the Old Testament accounts of giants and the ongoing spiritual warfare described throughout the Bible. They confirm that the actions of these fallen angels had far-reaching consequences, extending beyond the flood and into the present age. The imprisonment of these rebellious angels, as mentioned by Peter and Jude, parallels the consequences described in the Book of Enoch. This non-canonical text, while not considered scripture, was well known to early Jewish and Christian communities and provides additional context for understanding these apostolic writings. Dr. Michael Heiser, a scholar of biblical studies, notes that Peter and Jude's sources, including the Book of Enoch, were familiar to Bible scholars of their time. Although not considered sacred scripture, some of its content was significant enough for the apostles to reference in their letters. The apostles' writings suggest that these imprisoned angels will play a role in the final judgment. Peter and Jude indicate that they are being held until the last days, a time the Bible refers to as the Day of the Lord. This future event will mark the culmination of God's plan and the final defeat of evil forces. Interestingly, the New Testament references to these imprisoned angels connect back to Old Testament descriptions of the underworld. The realm where these beings are kept is later referred to as hell, similar to the underworld realm of the dead mentioned in the Old Testament. This is where the Rephaim and other descendants of the Nephilim were said to dwell, as described in Isaiah 14, 9-11. The apostles' writings also provide insight into the nature of demons and their connection to the giants of old. While not explicitly stated, their references to the imprisoned angels support the idea that demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. This concept, found in extra-biblical texts like the Book of Enoch, suggests that when the physical bodies of the giants were destroyed, their spirits continued to roam the earth as evil entities. These New Testament references serve to confirm and elaborate on the Old Testament accounts of giants and demons. They provide a theological framework for understanding the ongoing spiritual conflict that began with the rebellion of certain angels before the flood. The apostles' words remind us that the story of giants and demons is not merely ancient history, but part of a larger narrative of spiritual warfare that continues to this day. Giants in ancient world history. The Bible's account of giants is not an isolated narrative. As we look beyond the pages of Scripture, we find a world rich with stories of colossal beings that echo the biblical tales. These stories, scattered across various cultures and ancient texts, raise intriguing questions about the nature and origin of these figures. Ancient civilizations around the world have left records of giants in their histories and mythologies. These accounts, while diverse, share striking similarities with the biblical narratives. From the towering figures of Greek mythology to the giant kings of Mesopotamian lore, the theme of superhuman beings interacting with mortal humans is a recurring motif in ancient literature. One of the most fascinating connections comes from ancient Egypt. The land of the pharaohs, known for its meticulous record-keeping, provides tantalizing hints about the existence of giants in the ancient Near East. Egyptian texts from around 1250 BC mention a group of people called the Shasu, who some scholars believe may be connected to the biblical Anakim. These texts describe individuals of exceptional height, ranging from 6 feet 10 inches to an astounding 8 feet 7 inches tall. Another Egyptian source, known as the execration texts, provides further evidence. These clay figurines or bowls, inscribed with the names of feared enemies and then ritually destroyed, mention a mysterious ruler of Ayanok. This name bears a striking resemblance to the biblical Anakim, suggesting that the Egyptians were aware of and concerned about these giant clans in the land of Canaan. The similarities between biblical giants and those found in other ancient cultures are remarkable. Greek mythology speaks of the Titans, enormous beings who warred against the Olympian gods. Norse legends tell of the frost giants of Jotunheim, powerful entities who often came into conflict with the gods and heroes of Norse tradition. These parallels raise questions about the common origins or shared experiences that might have given rise to such widespread beliefs. Even in the Americas, far removed from the ancient Near East, we find stories of giants. Native American legends, as recounted by figures like Buffalo Bill Cody, speak of a time when the Earth was populated by beings 3 times the size of modern humans. These stories, passed down through generations, suggest that the concept of giants was not limited to any one geographical area or cultural tradition. The widespread nature of these giant myths poses a challenge to our understanding of ancient history. Were these stories based on actual encounters with unusually tall individuals? Did they stem from the discovery of large animal fossils misinterpreted as human remains? Or do they point to a deeper, shared cultural memory of a time when the boundaries between the earthly and divine realms were less defined? The biblical account of giants, when viewed alongside these other ancient traditions, takes on new significance. It suggests that the Israelites' encounters with giants were part of a broader phenomenon in the ancient world. The Bible's unique perspective, however, places these beings within the context of God's plan for humanity and the ongoing spiritual conflict between good and evil. As we consider these various accounts of giants across cultures, we are reminded of the complex interplay between history, mythology, and spiritual truth. The Bible's narrative of giants, while unique in its theological implications, finds echoes in the stories and legends of peoples around the world. This universal fascination with beings of extraordinary size and power speaks to humanity's enduring interest in the mysterious and the supernatural, the spiritual warfare perspective. The existence of giants in biblical history is more than just a tale of extraordinary beings. It's a window into a cosmic battle that has raged since the dawn of creation. This spiritual conflict extends far beyond what our eyes can see, encompassing realms both physical and spiritual. The giants, with their supernatural origins and immense power, represent a tangible manifestation of this unseen war. According to Dr. Michael Heiser, the episode of Genesis 6, 1-4, where the sons of God fathered the Nephilim, was an early stage of what theologians call spiritual warfare. This war against God and his people is fought on battlegrounds in both the seen and the unseen realms. The giants, therefore, are not merely physical adversaries, but symbols of a deeper, more insidious rebellion against God's divine order. Why would celestial beings choose to rebel against their Creator? The answer lies in the nature of free will and the corrupting influence of pride. The sons of God who fathered the Nephilim were not content with their assigned roles. Instead, they sought to reshape the world according to their own desires. Dr. Michael Heiser explains that these beings aimed to reformulate Eden according to their own whims, thereby opposing God's original design. This act was a terrible echo of the seed of the serpent, a deliberate opposition to God's plan for humanity. The presence of giants on earth had far-reaching consequences. Their existence exacerbated humanity's sinful state, contributing to the spread of wickedness. Genesis 6:5 paints a grim picture of this time. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The giants, with their supernatural abilities and knowledge, became catalysts for increased corruption and violence among humans. But the impact of these beings didn't end with their physical demise. The spiritual realm continued to bear the scars of their rebellion. Demons, according to some theological perspectives, are explained as the departed spirits of dead Nephilim. These disembodied entities roam the earth, harassing humans and seeking re-embodiment. This view frames the existence of giants not just as a historical curiosity, but as the source of ongoing spiritual antagonists. For believers today, understanding this spiritual warfare perspective offers a profound insight into the nature of evil and the importance of spiritual vigilance. The battles against giants described in the Old Testament, such as David's confrontation with Goliath, take on new significance. They are not merely tales of physical combat, but representations of the ongoing struggle against forces that oppose God's will. Dr. Tim Chaffee supports this view, suggesting that the battles involving giants were part of a holy war against the forces of darkness and enemies under the dominion of hostile gods. When David and his mighty men defeated Goliath and his kin, they were not just winning military victories. They were, in a sense, revisiting the unfinished business of the conquest, the defeat of ancient foes linked to supernatural evil. This perspective on giants and spiritual warfare extends into the New Testament as well. The apostles Peter and Jude reference the fallen angels who sinned and were imprisoned, drawing from Jewish traditions and texts like the Book of Enoch. These references serve to remind believers that the spiritual conflict that began in ancient times continues to this day. For the modern believer, this understanding of giants and their role in spiritual warfare offers both a warning and an encouragement. It serves as a reminder that opposition to God's will is an ancient and ongoing battle requiring constant spiritual alertness. At the same time, it reassures us that just as God empowered his people to overcome seemingly insurmountable foes in the past, he continues to equip believers for spiritual victory today. Giants and demons, a lasting legacy. As we've journeyed through the biblical narrative of giants and demons, a profound connection has emerged. This link between towering beings of old and spiritual forces of evil challenges our understanding of both history and the unseen realm. What lasting impact does this connection have on our faith and daily lives? The giants of Scripture, born from the union of divine beings and human women, left more than just physical traces in the ancient world. Their legacy extends into the spiritual realm, with their disembodied spirits becoming the demons that continue to oppose God's plan. This revelation sheds new light on the nature of evil and the ongoing spiritual conflict that surrounds us. For believers today, recognizing this connection deepens our understanding of spiritual warfare. It reminds us that the battles we face are not merely against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities with ancient origins. This knowledge calls us to greater vigilance in our spiritual lives, urging us to rely on God's strength in facing unseen adversaries.